invited resource persons, and to the public watching us via the FB page of the House of Representatives. Thank you for attending today's meeting as I anticipate an exhaustive discussion on the issues submitted to the jurisdiction of this committee. The committee called this meeting to deliberate on issues raised by the Honorable David J. Suarez in his privileged speech delivered on November 28, 2023, on the alleged fake news peddling of SMNI. The plenary directed this committee to immediately deliberate on the matter, thus we scheduled it today. The committee also received the referral of House Resolution number 230 on the alleged fake news peddling and baseless red tagging of individuals, groups, and organizations by SMNI, and House Resolution number 1428 on the alleged fake news and grave threats against Representative Franz Castro by former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and SMNI. Both resolutions authored by the Honorable Franz Castro, Arlene Rosas, Raul Daniel Manuel, sought from the entity's action on the various complaints against SMNI. These resolutions and the privileged speech will be deliberated together in accordance with Section 35, last paragraph of the House Rules, which provides that bills on similar and related subject matter shall be scheduled on the same meeting. News reporting is a powerful medium that provides the public of crucial and vital information on current events, weather, government workings, and other significant reports that affects the daily lives of the citizenry. It can influence people and may generate public opinion and mistrust on matters involving public interest. It is therefore important that news reporting is fair and accurate. Under the Broadcasters Code of the Philippines, news media practitioners are mandated to observe fairness in the objectivity in delivering news. Article 1, Section 3A states that news reports shall be fair, factual, and objective. Section 3C further states that side comments expressing personal opinions while a news item is being reported or delivered are prohibited to prevent the listener from mistaking opinion for news. The Broadcaster Code of the Philippines provides the set of standards for performance and ethics to be followed by member radio and television stations, including SMNI. Let me emphasize that the mandate of the Committee on the Legislative Franchises is the granting, amendment, extension, or revocation of legislative franchises. It is authorized to exercise its oversight function to determine whether or not the franchise grantees faithfully comply with the terms and conditions of its franchise. The Suarez Sue Media Corporation under Republic Act number 11422 was granted on August 22, 2019 for 25 years. As there are alleged violations on the franchise grant, the committee is well and within its mandate to look into the matter and can invoke its authority under Section 15 of the law. While free speech and press freedom are constitutional rights, the allocation of TV and radio frequencies is not a guaranteed right. It is subject to the authority of Congress over the grant, amendment, suspension, or revocation of legislative franchises. TV and radio frequencies are part of the national patrimony and are owned by the state. No private entity has any claim or right over TV and radio frequency allocations. This privilege granted by a broadcast entity is subject to the terms of its legislative franchise. In this regard, the franchise of SMNI, Republic Act number 11422, Section 4 states as one of its terms and conditions, responsibility to the public. The grantee shall conform to the ethics of honest enterprise and not use its stations or facilities for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. For today's deliberation, the committee invited resource persons from the different government agencies that will assist the committee in considering the issues submitted to its jurisdiction. May I now recognize the authors for the sponsorship speech? We will start with the Honorable Franz Castro, Deputy Minority Leader. You are now recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. I would like to thank the committee for considering our resolutions, the resolutions of Makabayan Bloc, namely Representative Raul Manuel, Representative Arlene Brosas, and myself. In addition to the text of the resolutions, Mr. Chair, may we just put on record the following. First, we filed House Resolution 230 and House Resolution 1428 along with other measures condemning fake news peddling and red tagging of SMNI, which are pending in other committees, Mr. Chair. Fully aware that the powers of Congress must never be used to stifle press freedom and free expression. Back in 2020, we voted for the renewal of the franchise of ABS-CBN and vigorously opposed the denial of its franchise driven by personal vendetta of a president stung by a free press. That is why our resolutions called for accountability of SMNI for its violation of journalistic practices and principles of basic human decency, but only insofar as its accountability under the laws being implemented by the NTC. Our prosecutorial services, the DOJ and the Ombudsman and other agencies of the government. Our proposed legislative measures are in fact part of the greater campaign against disinformation and red tagging, against any use of power and pulpit undermine democratic discourse and the rule of law. It is in that light that we in the Makabayan urge calm and objectivity in these proceedings to bring to light from undisputable evidences the violations of journalistic standard and various laws committed by the SMNI. To the end that we do not cultivate the impression of the people that this House is using its powers to punish an entity given a franchise. There is a free speech, then there is a vile speech. In these deliberations, let us make it so that evidence that SMNI is a purveyor of the latter comes out, and so that the accountability under the law is demonstrated. Be that as may, this representation enumerate the takeaways that we hope for in these proceedings. Number one, Mr. Chair, we hope to stress the wrongness of red tagging and terrorist labeling, which in its essence is disinformation, dissemination. Kung ang isang tao ay nagpapakalat ng chismis, and I quote, si ganito ay ganyan, unquote, pero wala namang patunay na binibigay. Nagpapasapanganib na ito sa reputasyon ng taong binibiktima ng chismis. Di hamak na mas mabigat ang red tagging at terrorist labeling dahil buhay at kaligtasan ang nilalagay sa peligro. Ilang tao na ang nakararanas ng pangre-red tag bago sila naging biktima ng extrajudicial killings, illegal arrest, pagdukot at inkomunikado detention, at iba pang mga human rights violations. This information is false information masquerading as truth or news. Disinformation peddlers like the SMNI and its red taggers and chismismongerers or rumor mongerers masquerade as newscasters, journalists, and commentarists. Number two, through these proceedings, we hope for this committee to secure updates from various agencies and entities like the KBP on the numerous cases that SMNI and its people are facing. Actually, yun ang call ng resolutions namin, Mr. Chair, for NTC to report to Congress kung ano na ang ginagawa sa mga kasong pending sa kanila. Napakarami na to name just one filed by Kadapan, Empeño, and Palabay for airing an interview with convicted kidnapper Palparan without permission from authorities, plus red tagging, plus violation of Fair Election Act and COMELEC Resolution 10730 versus Lenny. Ang mga kasong ito ay dagdag pa sa mga kasong kinakaharap ng anchors, host, commentaries paboritong interviewees ng SMNI sa iba't ibang korte at tribunal gaya ng ombudsman. Nais ng biktima, halimbawa Mr. Chair, mga church people, health workers, journalists, human rights defenders, authors and poets, academics, na makita kung kailan mapapanagot ang notorious red taggers and fake news peddlers na sina Badoy Partosa at Jeffrey Celis. Kaya magandang isama sa investigasyon ng committee ang DOJ, ang National Prosecution Service ng DOJ, Ombudsman, MTRCB at ibang mga ahensya, pati na rin ang KBP at online platforms gaya ng YouTube at Facebook upang mag-report sila ukol sa mga aksyon nila kaugnay sa SMNI at mga tauhan nito. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chair, and I'm reserving my right to ask questions from the resource persons later. Muli, maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. For Franz Castro. The next will be the Honorable Raul Manuel, another proponent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would also want to deliver some remarks as author and also to sponsor most especially House Resolution number 1428, which seeks to condemn the fake news peddling, baseless red tagging, and grave threats against our colleague, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz L. Castro by former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and SMNI. Sir Chair, tayo din, bago tayo maging isang student leader, may mga panahon din naman na tayo ay naging bahagi din ng media sa ating campus. We participated in schools press conferences. Nung high school tayo ay naging bahagi din ng editorial board. Nung kolehiyo naman ay tumulong sa pag-revive at maging operational ulit ang ating student publication sa UP Visayas College of Arts and Sciences. Kaya ganun kahalaga ang pagtingin po ng mga kabataan sa papel ng media sa ating bayan. And with many young journalists who also participate in different levels of the school's press conferences, hindi po magandang ehemplo ang nakikita natin sa forma ng mga ginagawa ng SMNI o itong Sunshine Media Network International. Sa mundo naman natin, natural na merong mga pagkakaiba ng opinyon. Pero sa hulit-huli, Mr. Chair, naniniwala ang kabataan na dapat lahat ng opinyon ay nagmumula sa katotohanan. Kung ano ang realidad, kung ano ang mga facts na meron tayo, yun yung pagmulan ng ating magiging mga gagawing opinyon. Pero kung yung mga opinyon ay hindi nakabatay sa kahit anumang katotohanan at nauuwi lamang sa mga baseless accusations, we must draw the line at dapat ay hindi natin hayaan ito. At dumulo na nga ang ganong naging trend ng mga baseless accusations and even red tagging sa death threat sa ating kapwa mambabatas. Mr. Chair, to quote, sabi pa, and I quote, "Gusto kitang patayin, but I want to kill you softly." End of quote. Meron pa, Mr. Chair, kayo, ikaw, Franz, kayo mga komunista, ang gusto kong patayin. End of quote. And this is too much. Now, aside from, of course, our colleague who bravely spoke against these threats, nandyan din mismo kinikilala natin ang liderato ng Kamara na kinundina din ang ganitong mga paratang. And even the international community has been paying attention. These statements and threats were condemned by the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights and the Governing Council of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Before I end, Mr. Chair, SMNI, its hosts, and its shows have repeatedly engaged in acts of dissemination of fake news and malicious red tagging. It habitually engages in the reporting as news of misleading claims, deliberately disseminating false information, willful misrepresentation, wild accusations, and red tagging against the opposition, critics, and officials of the government, in violation of the terms of its legislative franchise and to the detriment of public interest. With that, Mr. Chair, we thank the committee for putting this in the agenda of today's committee meeting. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Manuel of the Party List Kabataan. The chair now recognizes the Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable David J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, members of the Committee on Franchise, and to our resource person. Sa inyo po lahat, magandang hapon po. If I may request, Mr. Chair, that the entirety of my privilege speech serve as my sponsor's speech. But I would just like to request that portions of my speech I discuss before we proceed with today's hearing. If I may proceed, Mr. Chair. Okay. Thank you very much. The gist of my sponsorship of my privilege, actually, it's not a privilege speech, but rather I rose on a question of personal and collective privilege. And this happened, I think, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday, based on a video that I saw early that day. And in that video, in one of the shows of SMNI, they stated that the House Speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos in traveling. And the conversation continued on and said na baka hindi 1.8 billion pesos lang. Baka humigit pa doon. Baka umabot pa ng 2 bilyon. At dinagdagan pa nung mga nasa panel, paano nyo gagastusin yun? Baka hindi na siya umuwi sa bahay. At bilang isang miyembro ng mababang kapulungan, I found these statements quite offensive with a lot of concern. Because as member of the vice chair, as member and vice chair of the Committee on Appropriations, alam ko po kung magkano ang pondo ng House. At to a certain extent, kabisado ko rin yung mga pinagagastusan natin. At kaagad-agad, dumulog ako sa Finance Department at tinanong ko kung magkano ang traveling expense ng House at ng Speaker. And I was given that figure. And after I found out the real figure, this was enough reason for me to stand up in plenary and deliver my speech. And my speech basically focused on SMNI coming out on national broadcast and stating a lie, fake news, with no disregard whatsoever to truth, to facts, and to fairness. And after that, after I delivered my privilege, my speech last Tuesday, sinabi ko po nga sa speech ko na kung hihingi ng paumanhin o magre-retract, sana naman magawa nila para naman ma-repair yung damage that has been done. But sad to say, on the following day, another video was sent to me showing the same panelists stating that what they did was right. There was no wrong to the statement that they issued. Nang ginawa lang daw po nila ay nagtatanong. But any responsible media practitioner, if given an information, would first validate that information before they go out on public. And if I may be allowed to read, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Text po ng misis ko. Under the KBP, meron ba tayong taga-KBP dito? Under the KBP, under Section 5 nakasulat, unconfirmed reports shall not be aired unless there is an immediate and urgent need for the public to know about them, such as when the public needs to be warned of a possibility of imminent danger. When such reports are aired, it must be emphasized that they are unconfirmed. First, was there any imminent danger in the pronouncement made by SMNI about 1.8 billion? May bagyo ba? Lumindol? Meron bang parating na tsunami? Wala naman tayong nabalitaan. At further, it says, they have to emphasize that this report is unconfirmed. Neither did they do that. Neither did they do both. And furthermore, they justify their position by saying, nagtatanong lang po kami. Hindi po kayo nagtatanong. Kung nagtatanong po kayo, di dapat ang ginawa po nila, ito naman po ay position ko, Mr. Chair, pumunta sila sa Congress, tinanong nila dito sa mga tanggapan at opisina kung totoo ba itong report nila. Dahil meron silang natanggap na report na di umano ganito kalaki ang ginastos. At pagkatapos malaman kung ano ba talaga, sa kanila ilabas kung ano yung nilalaman ng kanilang report after they have validated. So, Mr. Chair, I rise on those 2 points. I rise on the point of the truth. And I rise on the point of responsible media practice. You said it yourself in your opening remarks that the franchise given to SMNI is not a right. It's a privilege. Privilege that comes with responsibility. Privilege that comes with rules, norms that they should abide, that they should follow. And I hope this humble representation, through the help of this committee, can properly dissect and analyze and find out whether or not SMNI lived up to those rules, lived up to those norms, and lived up to those standards. Kaya po, Mr. Chair, maraming salamat po. That will serve as my opening remarks to this hearing.
Thank you very much, Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable David J.J. Suarez. Before we continue, the Chair would like to recognize members who just arrived from the second district of Antipolo City, the Honorable Romy Acop. Welcome, sir. And of course, from the 5th district of Quezon City, the Honorable Patrick Michael Vargas. Welcome to the committee hearing. May I ask the committee secretary, before we proceed, to acknowledge the resource persons who are here in today's hearing. And please raise your hand when your name is read and announced. Comsec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have invited the following resource persons, and they are resource person, and we have in today's hearing from NTC, Deputy Commissioner Engineer Alvin Blanco. From KBP, we have Attorney Rudolph Hularbal. From COA, Honorable Chairperson Gamaliel Cordova sent Mr. Isaias Reynoso, State Auditor 5. From the MTRCB, the agency is represented by Attorney Ana Mindalano and Bobby Diciembre. From the Movement Against Disinformation, we have Attorney Rico V. Domingo. And from the SMNI, we have here the President, Mr. Marlon Rosete, and he is assisted by their legal counsel, Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Suplico. That's all, Your Honor. We also have House officials present here, the Honorable Secretary General Reginald S. Velasco, and the Deputy Secretary General for Finance Department, Honorable Dante Roberto Maling. Maling po. Apo, sabi ko na. Your Honors, thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I would like to lay the ground rules para clear ho tayo dito sa hearing ito on orderly meeting. Members will be allowed to interpolate the resource persons for 20 minutes per member. We take out the reply, okay? The resource persons are requested to directly answer straight to the point the questions raised. Members will be recognized on a first to register member manner, and please register with the committee secretary by leaving a message or there's a form that's being passed on. Refrain from asking questions already answered except when seeking clarification. In the event that the member has the floor, has not completed the questions after the 20-minute period, he may avail for the second round when time permits. Otherwise, he will be listed for the ensuing hearings. Members will not be allowed to interrupt an interpretation of another member except when seeking clarification and if related to the question posed by the member interpreter. Observe proper decorum and avoid heated arguments. Always address the chairman in asking questions and giving the answer and wait to be recognized. Let's abide by these ground rules so that we can do this in a very timely manner. Before I call on the first interpreter, the chair would ask the COMSEC to please administer the oath to all those present in today's hearing. Please rise. COMSEC.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry? So help you God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first interpreter would be the Vice Chair of the committee, the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. You're recognized, sir. Silence is requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The chair has already established and the authors the reason why we're conducting this inquiry under House Resolution number 230 and the privileged speech of Congressman J.J. Suarez. This is with regards first and foremost to the bias reports of SMNI regarding the traveling expenses of how the House and also the grave threats against the other congressmen of the House of Representatives. Mr. Chair, actually SMNI is operating under Republic Act number 11422, which was approved on August 2019. However, SMNI is operating actually under Suara Sog Media Corporation, which is the franchise holder. Now, before I begin my interpretation, let us first define what is a franchise as defined by the Supreme Court in ABS-7 Corporation versus National Telecommunications Commission. The court defined a franchise as the privilege granted by the state through its legislative body subject to regulation by the state itself by virtue of its police power through its administrative agencies. In short, Mr. Chair, the franchise grantee has no absolute right over the franchise as a franchise is a special privilege granted by the state, which the state can also take back when common good so requires. The state through Congress has the exclusive authority to grant franchises for public utilities. Now, under Section 28, Rules of the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives has mandated the Committee on Legislative Franchise to act on matters directly and principally relating to the grant, amendment, extension, or revocation of the franchises. Now, under their franchise, Mr. Chair, there are several provisions, stipulations that must be complied with the franchise holder. Now, let me go to Section 4 of Republic Act number 11422. Section 4, responsibility to the public, meaning this is the responsibility of the franchisee. I will not read anymore the whole text, but the pertinent or the more important provision which I will read. The grantee shall not use its stations or facilities for the broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act, or scene, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. Now, this committee would like to determine, Mr. Chair, whether the franchisee has not violated Section 4 of Republic Act number 11442. On November 28, in the morning of November 28, as stated by Congressman Suarez, the reason for his privileged speech, there was a show. I'm not well versed on the show, but accordingly, on reports, there was a show. The two anchors, or how many anchors, alleged that the House, through Speaker Martin Romualdez, spent 1.8 billion pesos in travel expenses. Now, I want to know, Mr. Chair, and I would like to establish, saan po nyo nakuha? I would like to direct my question to SMNI who could answer this. Mas mabuti ho sana, may I know from the COMSEC kung nandito ba yung mga anchor nung show na yun? And let me know what show was that. Mr. Chair, sino pong sasagot?
And I,
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the members of this honorable committee. We come here in response to a letter invitation. So we addressed to Mr. Marlon C. Rosete, President of Suarez Media Corporation. Attorney Tino and I were engaged to assist the President, Marlon Rosete. We are not engaged to assist the anchors that
Pero, Mr. Chair, may I know kung dito ba yung mga anchor?
they're not here, Your Honor. They were not invited, Your Honor.
Were they invited, COMSEC? May I put it on record that during the next hearing, if there is another hearing, that this committee would invite the two anchors? Because I would like to establish whether your allegations of 1.8 billion pesos, kung totoo ba to, or is it baseless or unfounded? My first question, ewan ko kung masasagot po ninyo yon to the legal counsels. My first question would be, saan ho nyo nakuha yung source na 1.8 billion pesos?
the President will answer? Who will answer?
Can I answer, Your Honor?
Okay, you're
I'm the legal counsel of SMNI, Your Honor.
you're in-house or
Chairman.
retained?
In-house, Your Honor.
Okay, please.
The SMNI would like to invoke the SOTO law, Your Honor, with respect to Republic Act 11458.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would the rules of the committee allow a legal counsel to answer for and in behalf of his principal? Our rule says generally that a legal counsel cannot speak. It should be the principal himself who should speak or answer the questions. Mr. Chair.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm the legal officer of SMNI, so I'm one of, as invited by the committee to talk in behalf of SMNI.
Yes.
So I'm not just a legal counsel, but a legal officer of SMNI.
Yes. That was my question. Because if he was retained, or if he's on a retainer basis, then I would not have allowed you to speak.
Yes.
So,
So me and Attorney Rolex Soplico are legal officers of SMNI.
yes, please proceed.
So,
But Mr. Chair, invoking the SOTO law does not answer my question. That is a totally different matter. Ang tanong ko simple lang po, saan ho nyo nakuha, what was your basis to allege that the Congress spent 1.8 billion pesos? We have to know the source.
Mr. Chair, we were not hired or engaged by the anchor, Eric or Dr. Badoy, but we were legal officers of SMNI. So we are not authorized to answer in behalf of the anchors.
So in short, Mr. Chair, you are not in a position to answer the question.
And second, Mr. Chair, there is a disclaimer of SMNI that any statement made by the anchors are not the official stand of SMNI.
Yes, Mr. Chair, although it might not be your special stand, but still, you are the franchise shareholder and you are responsible for the provisions stated in your franchise. We are talking about Section 4. Now, we are trying to establish whether you are in violation of this section. Now, also, with regards to the Broadcaster Code of the Philippines, news report shall be factual. So, kailangan factual yung report ninyo. Now, aside from that,
Mr. Chair?
news sources, only news that can be attributed to a source shall be aired. So, kung ganon, kung wala kayong source, gawa-gawa lang ho ninyo yun.
Mr.
So in short, Mr. Chair, it is very clear na ginamit lang ng MSNI to have a smear campaign against Congress. Ang dami yung violations sa Broadcaster Code, yung Section 4. So that is why, Mr. Chair, I insist that this committee should call or invite or require the attendance of the two anchor persons. Ilan bang anchor persons? Anong show ba ito, Mr. Chair?
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Yes.
Ilang anchor person po ito?
There are four. There are four, Mr. Chair.
So, pwede po bang, Mr. Chair, ibigay ninyo yung mga pangalan sa committee secretariat so we can invite them?
And the main, there are four anchors, Mr. Chair, but the main anchors, there are two. Eric Celis and Doc Yusek Lorraine Badoy.
We might as well invite all of them. So, since they are the one anchor persons in according to JJ Suarez, they served as a panel. So, mayroon pang nagsabi na baka malaking gastos o ganito, ganon. In short, we might as well. Kung imbitahin natin sila, imbitahin na po natin, Mr. Chair. Can we do that?
Yes, we will do that. The committee secretary is directed to invite the anchors in the next hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may just inquire from SMNI, are those two anchors, do you air in Manila or are you based in Davao?
No, we're based in Makati.
So those two anchors are presently within the vicinity.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So why don't you invite them and come now? Kung nandito lang naman pala sila.
So we try to call them, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
Let them come now. I mean, para hindi tayo nag-aaksaya ng oras. Kung nandito lang naman pala sila. Dapat, actually, Mr. Chair, sorry, Kong Johnny, I think you should have been duty-bound to bring them along already. Alam niyo naman na ang pag-uusapan natin dito, yung show nila eh. Di sana sinamban niyo na rin sila. Di ba? So, but in any case, please do invite them if they're within the area, just so that we can save time. With the permission of Congressman Pimentel, of course.
Of course. Sila nga ang dapat nandito para silang sumagot. We want to know first the source. Anong pinagbasihan nila na mag-aligasyon sila ng itong 1.8 billion pesos? Anyway, since the anchor persons are not here, to put it in record, we have here the Finance Officer of Congress and we have the Secretary General from Congress. As I've said, the books of Congress are open to everyone, are open to public. So for the record, may I ask the Finance Officer or Secretary General Velasco, magkano ba talaga ang nakalaan sa budget natin for traveling expenses? Mr. Chair?
The Honorable Secretary General Reginald Velasco is recognized.
I have here the financial report on the foreign travel, no? Since foreign travel was the one that was mentioned in that program. Number one, for the office of the speaker, no? These are the staff members of the speaker who accompanies him to in all these foreign trips. The total expenses of the office of the speaker from January to October this year, 2023, is 4,347,712 pesos and 58 centavos. Now, for all the congressmen and the secretariat, no, that this would cover the expenses, travel expenses of House members who are on official trips. The total for the same period, for period covering January to October 2023, is 35,257,411 pesos and 1 centavo. The total for all, no, Office of the Speaker and the House Secretariat and the members of Congress who go on official trip, 39,605,123 pesos and 61 centavos. So these are the financial figures, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
I'll go to the next question. The Finance Committee head is here. Mr. Maling, do you confirm this?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
These are the right
I do
figures?
confirm what the agenda said.
Thank you very much.
Sir Chair, can I
Yes.
proceed?
Proceed.
So maliwanag po sa lahat, Mr. Chair. The record shows that Congress for the year 2023 has spent only 39 million pesos. Malayong malayo po doon sa alegasyon ng SMNI that Congress has spent 1.8 billion pesos. Now let me read again so that the SMNI officers will be enlightened. Responsibility to the public, Section 4 of your franchise, of your Republic Act. The grantee shall not use its stations for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation. So very clear po dito, bawal po sa prangkisa ninyo na magsabi sa publiko ng mga maling reports or deliberately false information. Now, Mr. Chair, my question is to the SMNI. Why should you not be held liable when it is very clear that you have violated Section 4 of your franchise? Ano ang rason na may bibigyan nyo sa amin na hindi kayo dapat patulan o hatulan ng violation against your franchise? Very clear ho. Ang aligasyon ho ng SMNI, 1.8 billion pesos ang ginastos ng Kongreso sa traveling expenses. It is on record, and if you want that we can furnish you the records, nanditong finance officer, nandito SecGen, ang ginastos until October was only 39 million pesos. So it would be impossible na magkakaroon po ng gastos ng 1.8 billion pesos dahil yung budget for traveling expenses ni hindi nga umabot dun sa sinasabi niyong 1.8 billion pesos. Why should you not be held liable for this Section 4 responsibility to the public, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, can I answer it, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Tolentino is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, Mr. Chair, there was no allegations about the 1.8 billion pesos, Mr. Chair. It was just a question given not in behalf of SMNI, but it is a statement by an anchor of SMNI. And there is a disclaimer in every program of SMNI that any statement made by the anchor guest is not the official stand of SMNI. Second, Mr. Chair, there was no deliberate false information. I'd like to invoke, Mr. Chair, the jurisprudence of the Philippine Supreme Court about freedom of press and freedom of expression. It is part of our constitutional and republican principle, Mr. Chair, as a country and as a republic, that there is a jurisprudence that freedom of press and freedom of expression includes some what they call is false or inaccurate statement, if there's any inaccurate statement. Freedom of press and the freedom of expression is one of the highest form of constitutional right in our Philippine Constitution. That's why there was no deliberate false accusation. And third, Mr. Chair, in every act provided under the Civil Code, there is a presumption of good faith. So the one who alleges bad faith on the part of SMNI, the one who alleges that there is violation of Republic Act 11422 should be the one to prove it, because we are presumed innocent. We are presumed doing within the bounds of the law. And humbly, Mr. Chair, what we are doing here, we acted in good faith. Humbly, we acted in good faith, and there was no official statement given by SMNI. And ang ginagawa po natin ngayon, Mr. Chair, gumagawa po kami ng investigation, internal investigation, kung may nangyari ba talagang statement about the 1.8 billion. Because based on our initial investigation, there was none. It was just a question. That's why, Mr. Chair, if I may, we'd like to ask that the video, the subject video, we have here a USB to be played. So anybody will be, everyone, may chance na makita nila kung ano ba talaga ang video na yan. May nakalagay bang statement or it was just a question in the exercise of freedom of press?
Mr. Chair, may I comment on this statement of attorney? You mentioned about freedom of expression. While it is true that the Constitution guarantees the freedom of expression and speech is constitutionally protected, there are species of speech and expression that are not constitutionally protected. Among these are obscenity, pornography, hate speech, defamatory speech, libelous marks, and fighting words. It is important to note that the recent broadcast by SMNI against Congress, against particular groups and individuals, and recently against the speaker's travel expenditure do not fall under the ambit of the constitutionally protected expression. Very clear po yan na smear campaign yan, Mr. Chair. But anyway, let us go to another section of your franchise. This is with regards to Section 12, reportorial requirement. During the term of its franchise, the grantee shall submit an annual report to the Congress of the Philippines through the Committee on Legislative Franchises of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Public Services on its compliance with the terms and conditions of the franchise. Ito po ang mga dokumento na kailangan i-submit ninyo. Your franchise was granted in 2019, so you must submit it in 2020, 21, 22, 23. The annual report shall include an update on the rollout, development, operation, or expansion of business, audited financial statements, latest general information sheet, officially submitted to Securities and Exchange Commission, certificate of the NTC on the status of its permits and operations, and an update on the dispersal of ownership undertaking if applicable. Now, Mr. Chair, may I know from the Secretariat whether they have complied with the annual reportorial requirement? Marami hong dokumento ito. So gusto ko po malaman kung nasubmit po ng SMNI lahat ng dokumento na ito.
Please reply, Comsec.
Open.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
while we're waiting, let's just put it in proper context. Yung 1.8 billion, ang statement ng SMNI, hindi po yun sa entire house. Yung 1.8 billion, sa speaker lang yun. Hindi mo sinabi, hindi nila.
If I may, Mr. Chair, we deny that there's a statement. It was just a question na answerable by yes or no.
Oo nga. Well, I'll have my time with you later, don't worry.
I need it now.
But let's just put it on record, no, just so that we can put things in its proper perspective. You know, it's not the House, it's the speaker that they mentioned.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, that will be another matter, but may I know the answer of the committee secretariat regarding my question on the reportorial requirements? Because this is a responsible of SMNI in accordance with their franchise on Section 12.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, before who's asking, who's requesting to be recognized? Okay, somebody.
Mr. Chair, Attorney Suplico, Mr. Chair, our
Yes.
staff has informed us that we have submitted the yearly requirements, but I will ask her to bring it to the committee secretary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, may I know kung anong year po yun? Kasi you are required to submit every year. Starting 2020. Na-approve mo yung prangkisa ninyo August 2019, so dapat
Yearly,
starting 2020, 21, 22, 23, nag-submit po kayo dito ng reportorial requirements.
yearly, Your Honor, since 2020.
Was
I
it,
will ask our staff to bring our
Yes.
documents to the committee secretary.
was it
for
duly
perusal.
received by Congress, yung sinabit ho ninyo? Iba ho yung, kasi we had a hearing sa Meralco, we have to reconcile, kasi sabi ng Meralco, nag-submit sila for 20 years, but upon verification, ang nasubmit lang nila, duly submitted, duly received by Congress, 7 years lang. So, iba ho yung sinasabi yung nag-submit kayo, iba rin yung duly received by Congress.
Comsec, do you have the records?
Your Honors, we have, since the pandemic set in, we allowed franchise grantee to submit their annual reports via online through the email of the Committee on Legislative Franchises. The Suarasug Media Corporation, based on our record, submitted their annual reports for the year 2023, 2022, 2021, and 2020. And it includes the latest audited financial statement, the latest general information sheet, certification on good standing issued by the SEC. We also have the certification from the National Telecommunication Commission on due submission by the franchise grantee, a report on dispersal of ownership, and a report and update on the rollout expansion of the business, Your Honors.
Okay, that sets it clear, Mr. Chair. Oh, so that means everything is in order. Punta ko tayo dun sa section 10 of your franchise. Sale, lease, transfer, grant of user tract or assignment of franchise. Now, we know that the franchise was granted to Suara Sug, but actually, ang nag-operate ng TV station is SMNI. Can you tell me if SMNI is a corporation?
Can I answer that, Mr. Chair? Please. Suara Sug, what do you call this? Suara Sug Media Corporation is the grantee of the franchise. But Suara Sug Media Corporation is registered in the Security and Exchange Commission as Suara Sug Media Corporation under the name and style, doing business under the name and style of SMNI. Call this Sunshine Media Network, International, SMNI News Channel, Sunshine TV, Sunshine Radio, and in fact, Mr. Chair, SMNI is actually registered also as a trademark under IPO. So,
Mr. Chair, Attorney, you have not answered my question. Ang tanong ko po kung ang SMNI ba is duly registered corporation sa SEC.
I answered the question, Mr. Chair. SMNI is not a corporation. It is a business name owned by Suara Sug Media Corporation. Business name registered under Intellectual Property Office, and Suara Sug Media Corporation is operating and doing business under the name and style of SMNI. So SMNI is a trademark or a trade name, but the name of the entity is Suara Sug Media Corporation.
Mr. Chair, I just want to verify whether this does not violate Section 10, no? Assignment of franchise. Kasi nakalagay po dito, the grantee, I will not read the other portions, shall not transfer or assign the assignment of franchise or the rights of privileges acquired thereafter. So, in short, Mr. Chair, tinatanong po natin sa SMNI kung hindi ba ninyo inassign ang franchise sa SMNI ng Suara Sug?
Mr. Chair, there was no sale, lease, transfer, or grant of use of tract to another entity. As what I've said, Mr. Chair, SMNI has no juridical personality. It is not a corporation, but it is a trademark or trade name under Suara Sug Media Corporation.
Pero bakit hindi nyo ginamit, Mr. Chair, ng Suara Sug? Why use SMNI?
It's hard to pronounce Suara Sug. So that's why we changed our trademark. We're still operating under Suara Sug Media Corporation. But doing business, we use as a trademark or trade name SMNI.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, ang gusto ko talaga tanungin yung mga anchor persons ninyo. So therefore, I will reserve my next questions if ever the anchor... Tinawagan nyo po ba yung mga anchor persons?
They're on the way, Your Honor.
Okay, I will reserve my next questions dun sa mga anchor persons, Mr. Chair.
Before we proceed, the chair recognizes the Senior Deputy Speaker, Aurelio Dong Gonzalez of the 3rd District of Pampanga. Welcome, sir, to the hearing of the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
Seconds. Usman Mandal.
Okay. The Honorable Manuel is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed to my questions, gusto ko lang din pong magkomento dun sa binanggit na dahil may disclaimer naman ang show or ang network at gustong i-detach yung network dun sa sinasabi ng mga hosts. Tingin po natin hindi obra ko all the time yun yung i-invoke. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, wala na tayong mapapanagot pag ganun. Ibig sabihin, kahit sino pa pala yung magsalita dyan na co-trend na kasinungalingan ang mga sinasabi sa network, hindi pa rin mapapanagot ang network kung yung disclaimer yung gagamitin bilang shield dun sa mga maling pinapakalat. Now, Mr. Chair, I would like to address my questions to KBP. So I'd like to clarify, Mr. Chair, lahat ba ng mga media networks are bound by the Journalistic Code of Ethics?
As insofar as the Code of Ethics of KBP is concerned, it applies only to KBP members, Your Honor.
So is SMNI a member of the KBP?
Suarasug is a member of the KBP, Your Honor.
So in effect, ibig sabihin dapat ang mga pinapalabas din ng SMNI should be covered by this code.
Yes, Your Honors.
Now, Mr. Chair, sa Broadcast Code of the Philippines, ano po ang nababanggit doon regarding fairness and objectivity in programming? Ano po ang pamantayan na dapat sundin ng mga miyembro ng KBP kasama ang Suarasug and in effect SMNI?
That news should always be fair and accurate and objective, Your Honors.
So far po ba sa pagtingin ng KBP ay meron bang nalalabag doon ang Suarasug at ang SMNI?
Your Honors, I am devoid of sufficient information to conclude on that. But if the statements as contained in the House resolution are indeed true, there is a possibility of violation of the KBP code.
Mr. Chair, kasunod na tanong po natin, dahil repeatedly flag na rin ang SMNI many times at ngayon lalo lang na nag-intensify na kahit ang ating August body ay hindi na rin pinapalampas. Of course, while we are subject to scrutiny sa lahat ng ginagawa natin. Pero again, dapat nakabatay sa facts at vine-verify ang mga pinapublish at pinapalabas. Kaya when it comes to analysis and commentary, ano naman po ang nakasaad sa code ng KBP?
Again, in terms of analysis or commentary, fairness is the key to such commentaries or analysis.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to address my next question to the movement against disinformation. May representative po ba? Mr. Chair,
Attorney Domingo.
yes. Aside from the contents of the resolutions and for example, ang binanggit tungkol sa budget ng House and ang naging mga threats din sa ating kapwa mambabatas, ano pa yung ilan sa mga examples na na-observe ng inyong organization regarding the type of reporting or what's being released by SMNI?
Thank you for the question. Mr. Chair, can I answer the question? First of all, let me just quickly tell you what the MAD is, no? The Movement Against Disinformation. We are a non-partisan aggregation of professors, historians, and other professionals in civic society who are championing the cause of against disinformation. That's why we are very active in this particular area of advocacy. And in fact, to answer the congressman's question, in fact, we actually have a pending case with NPC concerning the the Alliance of Health Workers and the case of Empeño and Cadapan. And that was mentioned in the one of the preambular clauses of the resolutions. And we have a pending case with the NTC, precisely the question on violation of Section 4 that the good Congressman earlier had mentioned. So these are all pending. In fact, if I may even amplify my answer, Mr. Congressman,
Please proceed.
in relation to the false imputations focused on the speaker, what we are also very concerned about to be the disinformation and the red tagging that the SMNI had been welcoming in its broadcast. You remember the red tagging that had been done by a former USEC against a judge who issued a resolution on the prescription, another resolution in prescription, and called the judge an imbecile, and called the judge coming from the bowel of falsehood or something, and red tagged the judge, a sitting judge who made an adverse decision against the cause of that particular USEC secretary. That's the kind of SMNI exposure or broadcast that had been peddling around. And we have other litany, and as mentioned in the preambular clauses of the resolutions, these are all true because we have already filed actual cases against SMNI on this. And we cannot deny that anymore. This will be a litany of acts that the SMNI had been guilty of having broadcasted on air. And just to close my answer, there will be no stopping SMNI from proceeding with its vicious lies and going back. It just targeted the fourth highest position or highest leader of the land. It already targeted the independence of the judiciary. What will stop SMNI from hitting even the most powerful and the most senior of our government officials? That would be the imminent danger, Mr. Chair. If this many acts that are attributed to the SMNI are countenanced and not held liable for, then everything can just be done with impunity. And they will say, for the sake of press freedom, for the sake of the constitutional right, as correctly said by Congressman Pimentel, these are unprotectable speeches. I teach media law at the Ateneo Law School. These are unprotected speeches, and these cannot be countenanced by the honorable congressman. And I applaud, the man applauds the Congress for initiating this investigation, because it is about time that the Congress should wield its power over the grant of franchises to monitor and hold accountable all the franchisees that it had granted.
Thank you for that response, Mr. Chair.
Congressman Manuel, if I just may interject, the good gentleman mentioned that they filed numerous cases. Can the committee, Mr. Chair, get hold of copies of those cases that they have filed?
Very well,
Please
Mr.
submit those documents. But Attorney Domingo,
Yes.
you're a professor of remedial law?
Media law.
Media law. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
media law
And for what school?
Ateneo Law
Okay.
School.
Okay.
But I'm a graduate of the UP College of Law.
Okay. Thank you very much, Attorney Domingo.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The honorable.
to proceed, Mr. Chair, I'd like to raise my last few questions to give way also to our other colleagues. Again, to the KBP. Given na may mga ganito pong nababanggit, ano naman ang mechanisms ng KBP with regard to its members? At least maybe to advise, kung kaya pang mag-guide, to guide them, or at worst cases to like tap or warn members who might have done violations of the codes that pertain to how journalists should act and do their responsibilities.
Your Honor, first of all, maybe clarify the structure. KBP's members are not the anchors or the reporters. KBP members consist of the networks that are franchise grantees. The news and public affairs people in the station are members in the sense that they are attached to a member network. What we do is first, we accredit the persons who go on the air in a network station, and they are given lectures on the code of ethics and required to take an exam to pass it. That is how we hold these anchors and staff of member networks accountable. Because if they are found to be in violation, then we withdraw their accreditation. By the way, earlier, on the question on is Suarasug accountable, we make a distinction on the accountability of the anchors, the newscasters, etc., and the accountability of the network. Generally, if the network fails in its duty to give proper advice or reprimand or conduct investigation on violations of its anchor people, news people, then it can be held accountable. But primarily, we hold the on-the-air personality responsible for what they say on the air. There is a standards authority in the KBP, which is quote-unquote the courts of the KBP. They consist of 4 divisions of 4 members each. And their task is to try cases involving cases brought before KBP for violation of the KBP Code of Ethics. So if a complaint is filed before the KBP for an alleged violation of the code, then this is referred to the Standards Authority. While the Standards Authority takes cognizance of the case, there is an internal procedure, by the way, Your Honors, where if the case is already pending before another body, government body, the Standards Authority suspends hearing and gives deference to the courts or the investigating body. So that's the mechanism, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa ngayon po, I'm done with my initial questions, and
Second round.
yeah, I can listen to how this deliberation will proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I proceed, before I ask the next interpreter, I just would like to, the Attorney Suplico was raising his hand, and I'd like to acknowledge you.
Yes, Your
Baka sabi mo
Honor.
hindi kita na.
It's okay, Your Honor.
I could not because you had the floor. I
I
could not acknowledge you.
yes, Your Honor.
Now I will.
Okay, Your Honor. Your Honor, there is the network cannot tell the anchors what to say, what questions to ask. I just wanted to point out
Okay.
that we cannot dictate on our anchors what questions to ask, how to ask it, when to ask it. In the same manner, if there are guests there, we cannot also tell the guests to answer this way or that way. They exercise a certain degree of independence. So thank you very much, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I be recognized,
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
I have a question. Who's raising his hand? Who's? Yes, attorney. Sige, bago
Mr. Chair,
ako magtanong.
I'd like to respond sana sa statement ni Professor ng Media Law with respect sa mga pending cases ng SMNI. According to the rules, Your Honor, and Mr. Chair, and in fact, under the jurisprudence, allegation is not equivalent to guilt. Yes, maybe there are pending cases, but it doesn't mean SMNI is guilty of all those cases or already violated all the allegations made by the complainant. So it's not yet final, it's not yet executory. It's still pending with the NTC. In fact, may isang kaso ang SMNI with MTRCB na na-dismiss na. So ibig sabihin po, not because there's a case pending, hindi ibig sabihin guilty na ang SMNI. Second, not because SMNI made opinions against the speaker, hindi naman ibig sabihin na function talaga ng SMNI to destroy the reputation of every person. Ang SMNI, ginagawa nila yan in the exercise of freedom of press and freedom of expression. citing the Supreme Court jurisprudence, public officials should not be on your skin. In fact, public officials should be subject to public consumption, public criticism on matters of public concern. Lalo na yung ginagawa ng SMNI, kung may SMNI man na ginagawa, which we believe wala, kasi hindi naman official na act yung ginagawa ni Ka Eric. Yung statement ng SMNI is just a statement. It's not a statement. It is just a question answerable by yes or no. In fact, may definition po ng law on libel. If you read the law on libel under the revised penal code, nakalagay po doon, allegation of a discreditable act or condition.
Mr. Chair, point of order. Are we here to be lectured upon by the good lawyer, or are we supposed to conduct a hearing? Because I reserved my Thursday afternoon to conduct a committee hearing on franchise, not to be lectured on matters that I already know. I don't know if the same sentiment is felt by the members of the committee on franchise.
With due respect, Mr. Chair, hindi po tayo nag-lecture po dito po, but respond sa statement ng isang resource person.
Sige.
So, I apologize if it is considered as a lecture.
Yes. I would like to acknowledge the person that you referred to, the Attorney Domingo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I never said there was any conviction. I never said there was an executory decision. I just mentioned that we filed cases against SMNI, precisely the sections for violation that we alleged in the complaint. So
That was
just for the
clear.
record, we
Yes.
never said that they are already executory decisions. We never said that, Your Honors.
Yeah, that was clear. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may we know anong mga kaso yung napinali nyo at ilang kaso yung pinali?
They are going to give us copies, right?
Gladly, Your Honor. One is against the SMNI concerning the empeño and kidapan, the interview of
Anong,
General
ano nyo,
Pampara.
anong case nga? Libel, grave threats, or
This is a cancellation of the franchise of
cancellation of the franchise?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you please give us all
Yes,
those
Your Honor.
cases?
We
Okay?
also have one,
So, ilan pong kaso yan? Para klaro po tayo.
mga 5 po.
5 kaso.
Opo.
Na final nyo po sa NTC
Hindi lang sa NTC, sa courts po, at saka sa fiscal.
for the cancellation of the franchise of SMNI.
Opo.
Thank you very much, Attorney Domingo. I think that's clear that there were not, he never said that because for the record, I even asked the committee secretary and sabi niya, hindi naman niya sinabing they were convicted, no? Anyway, may tanong
Mr.
ako
Chair,
before I go.
Can we request Attorney Domingo to submit the file of the cases before the next hearing?
Yes, he has promised.
Just to be clear, very clear, Your Honor, we have one is a case in the NTC against SMNI. That's
Okay.
one.
and
And
for
others are collateral cases, but not in the not in the NTC, but in the fiscal as well as in the court of law. All of them we will give you, Your Honor.
So yan ay
Yeah.
may katanungan ako bilang po chairman ng franchise committee dahil marami po kong hinihear niyo ng mga renewal ng mga franchises. And medyo nababahala po ko doon sa posisyon ng SMNI na meron po kayong disclaimer, ergo hindi kayo liable. Question, is it legally valid?
Yes, Your Honor, it is legally valid as long as
Okay, yes or no lang, yun na po. Yes, it is legal position. Section 4 of the legislative franchise makes it the responsibility of the grantee, not the anchor, not anyone else, not the TV show, not the kung yan yung black time, it is the grantee. That is very clear in section 4. The responsibility of the grantee of the franchise over the dissemination of false information. This is an undertaking of the grantee that cannot be ignored. Actions of the TV anchors and under the supervision of the grantee, any disclaimer can just excuse any violation of the terms and conditions. Do you think it is correct?
that's why, Mr.
No,
Chair,
no. Yes or no lang po?
correct, but can I explain my answer, Mr.
No,
Chair?
we already heard what your position is. Your position is there is a disclaimer.
Yes.
Okay? So now I've said, and it's very clear na pag yan ho lagi ang ginamit natin, Eh, ano po ang saysay ng Section 4?
Yes.
Which is what a privilege granted by Congress. And this is a very clear section, and this was cited by the Honorable Manuel and also by the Honorable Johnny Pimentel. So I don't think, because in the future, that's why my question was, is it legally valid? Because there is Section 4 in the franchise agreement and the franchise approval of that privilege to air on channel 40.
Our stand, Your
Yes,
Honor,
sir.
our stand, Mr. Chair, it's legally valid.
In spite of my explanation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying that Section 4 is, that should now read not only the grantee, but even the anchors, etc., 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 because it's very clear that the Section 4 is holding the grantee responsible for anything that is aired on their television, on their channel.
That's why we are doing, Mr. Chair, an internal investigation. That's why we have if there is violation of our policies, Mr. Chair, we will act accordingly.
But if you say that there's a disclaimer and you're going to use that sa committee on franchise, ba't yung pa kailangan mag-imbestiga? Hindi nyo man kasalanan talaga yan. I mean, that's the position that you're putting forth before this committee today. And we're saying that, na hindi po, because meron po tayong Section 4.
Still, Mr. Chair, we stand that the disclaimer is valid and until a court of law declare it as illegal, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So you're saying that, okay. So now we will go on Section 4 later on because when my turn comes. Because I'm already saying that medyo dito ho, klaro naman na grantee ang may responsibilidad. Hindi po,
Yeah.
and if you're going to hide on a disclaimer, how can you do that when we never authorized you? You cannot do that. Diba? I mean, you do not have because you're responsible for anything that's aired there. And this information, okay, like an accusation of 1.8 billion when it has been stated, all you had to do was, I mean, kung pinoprotektahan natin pinoprotektahan natin yung credibility din ng lahat ng binibigyan natin ng prangkisa. Pinoprotektahan po natin para tunay na maniwala ang ating mga mamayan. Kung ganyan po mangyari, tapos magkatago po tayo sa disclaimer, sandali. Pag-usapan po natin lahat ng prangkisang inaaprobahan ng Kongreso na yun. At kasama na po dyan ang SMNI.
Yes.
And I will ask KBP. Do you agree that they can hide on a disclaimer?
Subject to certain qualifications, I don't agree, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay. So now we proceed. The Honorable Manuel, I'll give you.
Yeah.
Kasi you also mentioned that earlier. I will give you, then we'll go to the Honorable Suarez.
Yeah.
The Honorable Manuel.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, short na lang din dahil ang in-insist po ng SMNI kasi wala silang collective na responsibility dito dahil sa disclaimer, it's about the anchor. Pero kung i-observe din natin, Mr. Chair, sino po ba ang may-ari ng SMNI? Gusto ko lang i-lay down yung fact, no? It is owned by Apollo Kibuloy na actually kung sila mga...
Can we confirm the statement, Mr. Chair?
Yeah,
SMNI?
No?
I'm sorry.
SMNI is not owned by Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
Does he hold any position there?
No, he's not part of the corporate officers.
No, he doesn't have any position. Like he can be like
He's just a black timer, Mr. Chair.
he's a black timer.
He's a black timer of SMNI.
That's it. Wala siya iba. Hindi po siya ibang, hindi siya
We consider him as an honorary chairman.
yun.
Yes, honorary chairman, but he's not part of as one of the corporate officers. His name is not part of the corporate papers. He's not a stockholder of SMNI
Okay.
or Suarasug Media Corporation.
Okay. Can we,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, we can go back there to that issue later on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ngayon,
May ano pa pala.
Yeah.
Gusto ko lang
May pahabol.
i-state, Mr. Chair, kasi well, ito din naman ay matter of public record na may mataas na katungkulan, ganyan, na at least na-confirm natin ngayon. And mismo lumalabas ang taong ito at nag-deliver talaga ng mga statements mismo sa iba't iba mga programs. Kaya factor po ito at hindi natin atomize lang ang mga nasa SMNI. Ibig sabihin, kailangan din i-weigh natin ang ginagawa ng individuals in relation sa paano din ba gumagana talaga yung network. Yan lang, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Manuel. Napag-usapan na rin po natin in question ni Honorable Manuel tungkol kay Pastor Kipuloy at yun naman ay sinabi nyo na siya ay honorary chairman. Ito po ay found yun. This SMNI was founded in 1987.
I think the president. Suara Sug Media Corporation, Mr. Chair, was founded in 1987.
Correct.
Yes.
As a legal operating name.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And the products broadcasting service includes TV, radio, streamlining, and new media. Key products include SMNI, SMNI News Channel, and Sunshine Radio, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And this is owned by the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, correct?
Not necessarily, Mr. Chair.
No. Yes or no?
No.
No.
No, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying that the articles of incorporation is wrong?
We have here an updated articles of incorporation, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
By the way, Mr. Chair, the original Suara Sug Media Corporation was founded in 1992, but now under the new name, under the present. So the Suara Sug Media Corporations, Mr. Chair, the officers are, can I name the officers, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Cristina San Pedro,
Saan po based yan? Yung listahan.
SEC, Mr. Chair, GIS. Marlon Rosete, Lodi B. Hia Ayang, Loris Nepo Moseno, Hannah Jane Sancho, Ghislaine R. Ramos, Ananya P. Reyes, Mr. Chair. And the stockholders are the following, Mr. Chair. With 19%, Jesus Christ Workers Members Cooperative, 19%. 13%, Marlon Rosete. 46.22%, Phoebus Capital Holdings Incorporated. 53.46%, the Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name incorporated. And 0% with 1 share, Hannah Jane Sancho.
Are you done?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, so you're now saying that this
92, Mr. Chair.
92, year 1992. Okay. So we will double check on that. We'll double check that. Can you please submit us those documents to the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Those amended documents. Okay, I will go back again to SMNI on my second round. Okay.
Yes,
The chair would like to recognize the Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just my questions to Attorney Mark Tolentino. Attorney Mark,
Yes, sir.
you look very familiar to me. Did you used to work for government?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
What position did you hold?
I used to be a municipal councilor of my hometown. Second,
Which is?
Cabadbaran City, Agusan del Norte. Then second, as state solicitor of the office of the Solicitor General. Then third, assistant secretary of the DOTR.
Assistant Secretary of the DOTR.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I think, what year was that?
2017, Mr. Chair.
Up to?
2018.
So you only held that position for 1 year.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Why so short?
Of course, there was a political issues at the time, Mr. Chair, that I don't know what really the answer the reason, Mr. Chair.
You don't have any idea why? Did you resign? Were you fired? What was the
I
reason?
was terminated, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you were taken out of your job.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And the reason for your termination was?
I have no personal knowledge about the reason, Mr. Chair.
So,
In fact, I consider it as an expiration of my term because my position is based on trust and confidence of the president.
okay. So you felt so the president may have lost trust and confidence on
Yes,
you.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Your termination had nothing to do with your involvement with Wirecard.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, but you know of Wirecard.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but that was the case is already dismissed, Mr. Chair.
Dismissed.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us about this Wirecard involvement and case that your name was and your person was involved in?
They said that I am a trustee of that company, when in fact I'm not.
And Wirecard was found. Why was a case filed against Wirecard?
I think that case is pending in Germany, Mr. Chair. Not
Okay.
here.
And what is it about?
It's about the online banking in Germany, Mr. Chair. And they said that I am a trustee of that company. In fact, I am not.
You are not. So how did your name be prop up and be connected to Wirecard?
Because the COO of Wirecard visited my office at the time. That's all I remember because I cannot invoke in details because there is a attorney-client privilege, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Because I'm just going through some news articles and your name keeps on propping up in relation to the controversy of Wirecard.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, and this has nothing to do with your termination as a DOTR
Ano, Mr.
official. Walang kinalaman. What about dealing with your sister? Kasi nakasura dito sa Rappler Duterte files DOTR official for allegedly dealing with his sister.
It's not true, Mr. Chair.
This is not true also.
There's a misunderstanding only, Mr. Chair.
It's a misunderstanding. Just maybe a question.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
A statement
Yes, yes.
similar to what you just said.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So anyway, let's go back to that statement that you said. So earlier you mentioned that the 1.8 billion was a question. Correct?
Based on my opinion, based on when I saw the video, Mr. Chair, because
Okay.
I was not there during the
No,
live coverage.
yeah, but the mere fact that you're owning up to it as an SMNI official, you're stating that it's a question.
Because it's a question, Mr. Chair.
No, yes, but you're stating
That's
it for a
why,
fact that it's
Mr.
a question.
Chair.
That's my question. Just yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Okay. Great.
Can I
Because the reason
explain, Chair?
why I wanted to stress that point is because number one, you're owning up to it as an SMNI official. Okay. Number two, you mentioned that it is a question, so therefore there was no malicious intent with regards to the statement issued by your block timers, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So why was the tweet deleted in social media?
Mr. Chair.
Why was it deleted in social media?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair, because I have not.
But you're the legal counsel for SMNI. We were trying to
We can give the link to the Honorable Committee, Mr. Chair.
we were trying to get the link, and then I don't know.
May I know the number, Mr. Chair, that we're in? We can send the link of the video, Mr. Chair. Ano? Okay.
Ayan nakasulat to. This post has been deleted.
Mr. Chair, the SMNI Facebook page was
Fake news? What did you say?
Facebook page.
Okay.
Not fake Facebook page was taken down.
No. This is in Twitter. Twitter to, hindi to Facebook.
The video of Twitter is connected with the Facebook, Mr. Chair. But there is a YouTube link.
Okay. So hindi kayo nagtanggal nito?
No, Mr. Chair.
Kasi nung nag-link naman ako, dumiretso ako dun sa Twitter account ninyo, hinahanap ko dun, wala rin naman dun.
It's there in the YouTube, Mr. Chair.
So you're saying it wasn't you that took it down?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
It was Facebook that took it down.
The whole page, not just the video, Mr. Chair.
So, do you have any evidence that would say that Facebook took those pages down, or maybe just supposed to take your statement as hook, line, and sinker?
We can submit that to the Honorable Committee, the email of Facebook, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sige, fantastic. Kasi it seems like it's not the first time that tweets have been and posts have been removed from the SMNI network and for social media pages, especially when legal questions are involved. No, let me just go back. So you mentioned that this show of Ka Eric and Dr. Badoy, is that correct?
Yes, Dr. Badoy,
Yeah.
former USEC, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
okay. Naka-black time sila. Anong arrangement nyo sa show nila?
Co-prod, Mr. Chair.
Ha?
Co-prod. Co-production.
Co-production. So therefore, they are employees of SMNI?
Talents, Mr. Chair.
Talents.
Employees.
Okay, talents. So would you care to share to this committee, as talents, how much are they receiving?
I think, 100,000 a month, Mr. Chair.
100,000. And do you have a contract with your talents?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we can submit that to the Honorable Committee.
Do you have a copy of those contracts with you now?
Can we submit that, Mr. Chair? Still in our office, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, may I request that we subpoena the said documents? Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
That those documents be submitted immediately before the next hearing.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So what you're saying is they're paid talents.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And at the same time, as paid talents, the show that, ano bang pangalan ng show nila?
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Laban kasama ang bayan.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Doon sa Laban kasama ng bayan,
Kasama ang bayan.
kaninong bayan?
Pilipinas, Mr.
Bayan, okay. Laban kasama ng bayan. You are familiar with the show?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And you watch it regularly, I assume?
Maybe once a week or twice a week.
Okay. So,
But not every day, Mr. Chair.
yes. It's shown every day. Is it shown every day?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, if you're familiar with the show, you can more or less gauge the theme and the rapport by which these anchors conduct themselves in their broadcasts.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And you will agree that on certain cases, they may have exceeded the bounds provided by law when it comes to the KBP Code of Ethics. Would you agree with me?
That's why, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask, what is that Code of Ethics of KBP and the Broadcast Code?
So what you're saying is you're not familiar with the broadcast code.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I don't know if it is a law or just a code from...
So wait, okay. Now, so you're a media entity. You have paid block timers, paid talents that you actually just mentioned receive 100,000 pesos monthly, and yet you're not familiar with the Code of Ethics by KBP?
I am not an expert of that, Mr. Chair. Maybe my co-counsel can answer that, Mr. Chair.
Because I would assume, as a media entity, your paid talents, especially those in the news segment, would not only understand, but would hold close to their heart the code of ethics of the kapisanan ng mga broadcasters ng Pilipinas. Kasi ito ang dapat na sinusunod nilang alituntunin sa pagbalalabas ng balita.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And it's shocking that you as legal counsel just mentioned that you're not familiar. So anyway, Congressman Rolex Suplico. Attorney Rolex Suplico.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi sabi po ni Attorney Mark, baka yung ibang kasamahan niya makatulong, di baka may tutulong kayo?
Well, Your Honor, these are talents. And talents are, beforehand, they are required to follow a certain set of standards, including the Broadcast Code of the Philippines 2007. Sometimes, maybe they stray out of it, no? They violate it. But again, let me say, Your Honor, the granting of the franchise Warasov, I'm gonna tell them what to say, what to ask, when to ask, how to ask. They enjoy a certain independence from us.
Well, I would understand that they would enjoy a certain independence from you, but I would also believe that you should have a level of control over the substance being broadcasted by your talents. Because if you're saying that they're totally independent, what if the material that they're showing is in violation of your franchise? At sasabihin nyo, sorry, independent sila sa amin. Wala kaming magagawa. Paano kung lumalabag na sila sa mga nilalaman ng mga sections ng prangkisa ninyo? Sasabihin nyo, wala kaming magagawa. Eh kayo po ang malalagay sa alanganin yan. Kung sasabihin nyo, wala kayong magagawa.
Your Honor, actually, we started a internal investigation. And by the way, they're on their way here, Your Honor, in compliance with the request of the chairman.
Okay. Anyway, so I'll just go to KBP. KBP, just a few questions. Yung pong mga broadcasters, may license po ba sila na dapat hawak-hawak bago po sila mag-broadcast? Ano po ba ang patakaran ng KBP dito?
Your Honor, it's not a license. We accredit them in the sense that we require them to take an examination basically on the KBP Code of Ethics and pass it. And they are only accredited once they pass this KBP examination, so that they are held responsible for what they say on the air.
Thank you very much, Attorney. Attorney, to your knowledge, yung mga segment hosts, are they KBP accredited?
I have no information on that, Your Honor. Although-
What about SMNI? Can you inform us if they are KBP accredited?
No, Mr. Chair, only the Suarasug Media Corporation, Mr. Chair.
So yung broadcasters nyo wala, yung talents nyo wala.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But doon sa sinasabi ng KBP, dapat dumaan muna sa...
Accreditation, Your Honor.
Okay, so okay.
But we will comply, Mr. Chair.
No, I'm not asking you to comply. I'm just trying to find out whether or not they're KBP accredited. So that is the process that should be followed. Am I correct, KBP?
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you think that process is important?
Well, it is to ensure that those who go on there know the code of ethics and are familiar with the rules and regulations governing their conduct during a program, Your Honor.
And after this accreditation is provided to them, is there a monitoring system done by KBP to ensure that those accredited are properly abiding by the regulations and code of ethics you have set for them?
Due to lack of personnel, we don't have an active monitoring. Our monitoring is basically post-event. I mean to say we rely on complaints, and that is the time we require the on-air personnel to explain, or the network to explain, as the case may be. However, if there is information given to us, we may do a motu proprio monitoring, Your Honor.
So thank you very much, KBP. Let me just go back to Attorney Mark Tolentino. So habang wala pa dito yung dalawang paid talents nyo, na kayo pa lang nagbabayad sa kanila, ano yun? Buwan-buwan, ano? 100,000?
Yes, Mr.
Ano yun? May BIR yun? Kompleto naman siguro sa mga
Yes, Mr. Chair.
taxes and...
We
So,
complied all the regulations.
tatanggap din sila ng Christmas bonus pagdating ng itong buwan na to.
We don't consider them as employee, Mr. Chair, but talents.
Talents lang.
Talents.
So, wala silang bonus, walang
Yes,
overtime pay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So anyway, so insofar as you pay them, you know, they will have some sort of employer-employee relationship.
No, Mr. Chair.
You don't.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So what relationship do you have?
They're just talent, Mr. Chair. They're paid per episode, Mr. Chair. So there is no such thing as control as one of the requirement to be considered that there's an employer-employee relationship. That's why we don't consider them as an employee, Mr. Chair, but mere talents.
Yeah, mere talents that you have. And how long has this show been going?
Ilang taon na? Almost 3 years, Mr. Chair.
3 years. So 3 years and yet no control. 3 years and yet paid pa rin sila. No, 3 years, araw-araw umeere na
2
100,000.
hours a day, Mr. Chair.
Huh?
2 hours per day. Oh, 1 hour and a half per day.
1 hour and a half per day. Araw-araw yon.
Monday to Friday, Mr. Chair.
Oh, so Monday to Friday, 100,000. Kaso lang wala kayong relasyon.
There's a relationship, Mr. Chair, but not an employer-employee relationship.
Okay. So anyway, I just want to go back, no? You mentioned that the reason why the Twitter link, your Twitter video was deleted was because it is connected to Facebook, correct?
The entire Facebook page of SMNI were terminated by SMNI, Mr. Chair. By Facebook, Mr. Chair.
No, but when was the termination of Facebook done?
I think 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Last Saturday, Mr. Chair.
Last Saturday.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But the link I'm talking about happened last Tuesday.
So, may I know, Mr. Chair, if what is the name of the page, Mr. Chair, so we can verify?
SMNI.
Because there we manage many pages, Mr. Chair.
SMNI.
There's SMNI, there is
Twitter
SMNI.
is not linked to the Facebook account being disabled, actually,
Ah,
to state a fact.
Mm.
So what you're saying earlier, that the reason why it was deleted was because it was linked to your Facebook account, is totally false. Because Facebook is not linked to Twitter when in the disabling of accounts.
But we cannot
So
open
you might
anymore.
want to you might want to get your facts straight, attorney,
we cannot open now the SMNI page since Saturday, Mr. Chair.
in Facebook.
In Facebook,
But what
Mr.
I'm
Chair.
talking about is Twitter.
Twitter. The Twitter is still there is still functioning, Mr. Chair, the Twitter.
Eh oo nga, but yung post nga, dinelete nyo. Ayun oh, this post has been deleted oh.
You can open
Tapos
that to
sinabi mo
YouTube.
sa akin kanina, kaya siya dinelete dahil tinanggal kayo sa Facebook dahil connected. And when in fact, it's not.
I think,
Because
Mr. Chair,
Facebook, your page was taken down. You mentioned Saturday. This post is Tuesday.
maybe, Mr. Chair, that is YouTube, Mr. Chair.
No,
No, it's Twitter.
Twitter. Twitter.
We'll try to check that, Mr. Chair.
I think, that has to be, I think, your statement, because up to now, up to today, you're posting videos and news clips in Twitter.
Yes,
So
Mr.
it
Chair.
is active. Your Twitter is active.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So if it's active, why is this particular video not there?
I think the
And
best,
everything is there.
the best
Everything
person to
that you
answer
posted before and after is still there.
Mhm.
So it could not have been Facebook.
I
Because
think
if
the best-
Facebook did it, then dapat lahat yan wala eh.
I think the
Chair,
best person to answer
Mr.
it, Mr. Chair, is the
Point of order.
technical people.
There's a point of order by
I
Donald
think
Trump.
our resource speaker, the good attorney, does not know our rules. May we remind him of our rules? That before he can speak or while the chairman is speaking, he should not be speaking.
I'd like to apologize.
Are we waiving the rules of the House insofar as this hearing is concerned? Kami, tatahimik nga kami rito eh. Daldal ka ng daldal dyan without the permission of the speaker.
Yes. Please,
I'd like to
yes.
apologize for that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Akop, for reminding everyone here, as mentioned earlier, because the question really is of the Honorable JJ is, he said, FB's out, ergo, nawala lahat. And his contention is, how could it have been na tinanggal? Eh, up to now nga, nagpo-post nga kayo, tsaka lahat. Andyan pa rin, except that particular,
I think the
that
best
particular video. It was not on YouTube. We're definitely sure it was not on YouTube.
Mr. Chair,
And yes.
yes, my concern why I mentioned that is
Yes.
because, I mean, if you have nothing to hide, why are you going to delete the post? You broadcasted it anyway. Is it because a point was raised here in Congress? All of a sudden, you take down that post? Is it because now it's the substance of this committee hearing on franchise? Now that post has been deleted? It begs so many questions. So, well, anyway, I'll leave it at that because it seems like Attorney Mark is a little bit confused to why it was deleted. But I'm sure as members of the committee, we can come to our assumptions, no? I'll beg to, yes, Kong Joboy, and then,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go back to the Honorable
Yeah.
Suarez later on, but Honorable
Yes,
Aquino is
few
recognized.
questions
O bagusan
in regards
Del Norte.
to, also connected with the questions of Honorable Suarez. Yes, before we also have a radio station, and I have a little bit of experience programming, which is almost the same, but medyo level up na to ngayon, di ba? But in every program, at sana program, there's always a director, di ba? Magsasubmit ka kung ano gagawin ng bawat isa. Di ba? So, same sa inyo. For the whole day, all of those who are going to have programs for the day will submit sa office nyo. This program, ano bang kanina yung what's that? Kasama ng
Laban kasama ang bayan.
yeah, and other programs, no? And they're part of that sa submission. Sabihin nila kung anong gagawin, anong sasabihin nila, and what is the topic for the day. Di ba? Okay? So, now, kung sabihin natin, hindi nakita ng management, automatic violation yon na hindi kasama doon sa sinabi. Because kung nakita nyo na may sasabihin na ganyan, I'm 100% sure. Hindi kayo papayag. Di ba? Tapos ina-attack ng without any valid na evidence. No? Earlier, it was already explained from the very beginning na ganito lang. And we will stand by that in Congress. So it will now be your word and our word. At mahirap ano yan because that's the truth. Now, earlier, na-mention nyo, 100,000 ang, di ba, bayad sa mga correct?
Talent fee, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Talent fee.
It's not a salary but a talent fee.
Yes, talent fee or salary. You are both lawyers. Sa ordinaryong transaction, pagtatanggap ka ng pera na isang tao, always yan may resibo. Di ba? Talent fee. Talent fee, nakalagay doon ano ang gagawin mo sa talent fee. Your talent. What is your talent? Di ba? Oh, now, doon makikita kung anong gagawin mo sa programa mo. Your talent. Di ba? With that, Mr. Chairman, earlier, it was also mentioned 3 years na tong mga programa nyo. Programa, I would also like to, before I forget, I would like to ask, from SMNI, what is the difference between black timer and regular program? No? But I would also like to ask a copy of the first contract because 3 years ago pa to and the latest contract of all black timers and regular. So we will find out kung ano mga trabaho nito. Kasi medyo naguguluhan na kami. Etong hindi mapigilan kung anong sasabihin. Hindi naman pwede yun. Basta na lang sasabi dyan, tapos pagka may nasaktan, oy, sorry, ganyan na lang. Hindi naman pwede yun. Then it's time to go back sa franchise na binigay sa inyo. Hindi pwede magtago na lang dyan sa disclaimer na yan. Very simple lang po itong in-explain ko sa inyo. I am not a lawyer. No, but kung anong naiisip ko na tama, siguro yun ang simple lang. Hindi kailangan ng paikot-ikot. Gusto ko lang makita yung first na which was 3 years ago is a request and yung latest na contract ng lahat ng nagbibigay ng service sa SMNI or yung isang name ng company. Or
We will comply that, Mr. Chair. We will submit all the contracts with respect to our talents about kasama, laban kasama ang bayan, Mr. Chair.
No, not only one program. Yung ibang programs din. Ibang programs.
May know what...
See, we'll find out kung iba-ibang klaseng services, as what you've said, di ba? Then, lastly, have you ever signed contract as witness or as legal? Mga different contracts ng SMI.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Are you? Have you? Answer
Yes,
that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. They have.
Also with this, yung yung services.
I am the legal counsel of SMNI. Same time, I'm also a host of one of program of SMNI, the Pinoy Legal Minds, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, the Honorable Jose Aquino II. May katanungan lang po ko. Ano pong posisyon ni Pastor Kibuloy?
Based on my answer, Mr. Chair, last question, he is our honorary chairman, Mr. Chair.
No. Pero anong tawag ko sa kanya?
Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
Is he also, what is the highest, I suppose? Siya po pinakamataas sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Siya po.
No, Mr. Chair.
Sino po pinakamataas po?
The head of the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ is Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair.
Marlon?
Brother Marlon Acobo.
Okay. Siya po ang pinaka...
Yes, he is the head, Mr. Chair.
Anong tawag po sa kanya?
Brother Marlon Acobo.
Okay. So, ano siya? Pag sabi yung pinakamataas, siya po yung executive pastor o
Executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. The name above every name incorporated.
siya po yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Si Brother
Marlon P. Acobo.
Acobo. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, the Honorable JJ Suarez.
Thank you very much. So I'll just continue with my line of questioning. Dito po sa ewan ko lang kung nabasa na sa inyo to, no? Republic Act 11422, no? Under Section 4, it's stated here. Let me read. Medyo mahaba itong sentence ito. At all times, sound, balanced programming, promote public participation, assist in the functions of public information and education, conform to the ethics of honest enterprise, promote audience sensibility and empowerment, including closed captioning, and not use its stations or facilities for broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act or scene, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of public interests, or to incite, encourage, or assist in subversive or treasonable acts. Nakasad po ito sa Republic Act 11422.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
This is your privilege, your
Yes, Mr. Chair.
franchise.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Correct. It is my position that when your paid talents that have been in your company for the past 3 years, broadcasting Monday to Friday, 2 hours and a half, you said?
1
hour and a half,
Yes.
from Monday to Friday. When they came out on live broadcast and said that the speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos, is dissemination of deliberately false information and willful misrepresentation. That is my position. And you're saying it was just a mere question. A question, attorney, is this. Congressman Joboy, what color is your barong? That is a question. But when you say on live TV, meron po kaming natanggap na balita. Ang speaker ay gumastos ng 1.8 billion pesos sa traveling. Hindi lang yun. Baka madagdagan pa yan kung isasama yung entourage. Baka umabot pa ng 2 billion. Dinagdagan pa. At sinabi, how do you spend 1.8 billion pesos? Umuwi pa ba siya sa bahay? That's not a question, attorney.
If
That is, at the very least, malicious innuendo. At the very least. But from where I'm standing, that is a direct accusation to the House of Representatives. Now, SMNI, sabi nyo, paid talents nyo yun, hindi na nga dumaan sa KDP Code of Ethics at Seminar at wala silang certification. At alam nyo, yung manner kung paano nila kinokonduct yung sarili nila, at the very least, dapat pinagsabihan nyo sila. Tapos yan sinasabi nyo, meron kayong ginagawang internal investigation ngayon.
ongoing, Mr. Chair.
But what is sad is the following day, they came out again on TV, justifying what they said. Saying that what we said, dapat hindi kayo nasaktan kasi question lang yun. Di sana ang sinabi ninyo, yung nilabas po namin kahapon, ay yun po ay hindi po verified. Katanungan lang po yun. Kasi po doon ay isa direct statement this challenge on you. If you can prove that the 1.8 billion pesos is true, I'll resign. But if I can prove that the 1.8 billion that your program said is false, lagay nyo dito yung prangkisa nyo on the line. Kaya ka?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Hindi, yes or no?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair. I'm just a lawyer, and that's not part of my authority. But if I,
Kasi lang, kaya ka?
no, Mr. Chair,
Hindi. So kasi alam nyo nang alanganin.
because I have no authority, Mr. Chair, to talk.
Kasi alam nyo alanganin. Alanganin kasi yung statement niyo. Nandiyan si Presidente. Yung President, Mr. Dapat paninindigan nyo kasi mahirap yung ganon.
If I may,
Hindi nyo na nga pinindigan yung Twitter post niyo na wala na nga sa Twitter. Tapos yung statement nyo, hindi nyo pa paninindigan. So,
Mr. Chair,
Mr. President, can you please answer the question raised by the Honorable Suarez?
I have no right to decide. I think I have to ask the board of directors.
Okay. And okay, so the question raised by Honorable Suarez is an answer that he's requesting now, but I don't know if he's willing to defer until tomorrow. Or he's willing to resign anytime today.
Well,
If you're willing to put your franchise also down.
if they can prove their statement of 1.8 billion pesos is true, okay. But if they cannot,
Okay, so
that is a direct violation of their franchise. Now, question, anyway, we'll move to that later on. Medyo nangangatog na yata yung tuhod nito. Sino yung executive producer ng show?
Miss Noemi Parane, sir.
Who?
Miss Noemi Parane, Your Honor.
Is he here with us today?
No, she's not invited.
Is he within the vicinity? Is she, no? Can she be invited? Can she be invited?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano pong pangalan? Can you please state her name again?
I'm Marlon Rosete.
Hindi po. Yung executive producer.
Noemi Parane po.
Ha?
Noemi Parane.
Yeah. Noemi. Yeah. So can we please invite the executive producer to the committee? Is she within the area lang? Nasaan po kaya siya, sir?
Nasa Makati, Your Honor.
O di malapit lang pala. Baka pwede rin po natin maantay. Kasi yung dalawa yatang news anchor nyo parating na, di ba?
Para nasa vicinity na po, Your Honor.
Ha?
Nasa vicinity na po. Tinawag, sinundo na po, Your Honor.
Okay, fantastic. So anyway, I'll just reserve my other questions for my next round.
Shots. KBP. Is KBP here? Nag-CR. Okay, mamaya na. Balik muna tayo sa SMNI. For the President, does SMNI monitor, supervise, or exercise oversight over the content of its programs?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's clear. So, in spite of the disclaimer, you're now saying that you have an oversight. Okay. Can you describe the extent of your monitoring, supervision, and oversight of your program content?
We have a regular editorial meeting,
How often?
eh, once, twice a week, Your Honor.
Okay. So, so when you say editorial meeting, the content is discussed.
Yes, Your Honor.
The content.
But we cannot ask them what to ask, what to say.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
But the discussion of the budget of the speaker of 1.8 was discussed in your editorial meeting.
No, Your Honor.
So how did it come into the program? Paano na pag-usapan if the content is discussed in your editorial meeting?
Random po yun, Your Honor.
And do you think that that's in line with your policy and you allow that?
No, that's why we have an ongoing internal investigation right now.
How long does it take? It's been 3 days.
I think I'm not in the position to answer. Maybe Eric Selix is coming also. He's coming, the anchor.
No, I'm asking how long will it take for you to investigate? Kayo yung nag-investigate. Gano'ng katagal po usually yung pag-iimbestiga niyan?
Maybe until tomorrow, Your Honor.
So, para magkaroon kayo ng resulta.
Yes, po.
Even if you do not exercise editorial control over the speech of your anchors as you claim, don't you think it's your duty under your franchise not to permit unprotected speech during the program?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your job.
Yes.
So if it was your job and you exercise editorial content, inamin nyo yan. Sinasabi nyo rin, duty nyo under your franchise is to make sure that unprotected speech is not disseminated. Trabaho nyo rin po yan.
Yes po, Your Honor.
So, ano pong parusa yan? Responsibilidad nyo pala yan. So now, kung yan ay responsibilidad nyo, you're now saying that you're still hiding under a disclaimer. Sinaamin nyo naman, responsibilidad nyo lahat yan. Responsibilidad nyo ang laman ng programa. Responsibilidad nyo rin ang hindi sila magsalita ng hindi maayos. Ano po ang inyong bakit po kayo hindi ko kayo pwede magtago sa disclaimer.
Your Honor, there is no prior censorship. That's why we cannot tell you can tell them what to say.
I don't understand what prior censorship means.
Yeah.
I mean, they're your anchors. You dictate the content. So ano po magiging parusa ko niyan kung sila naglabag?
We call their attention. Yeah, we will call their attention and we ask them to explain.
So hindi niyo po nagagawa yun?
Until tomorrow, Your Honor.
KBP, nagtataas po kayo ng kamay?
Your Honor, I beg your indulgence. I was informed that you were looking for me when I went to the...
Yes.
Thank you.
My question would be, they asked, you were saying that I have a question. Is a question premised on false information in line with ethical journalism?
Your Honor, I cannot fully grasp the context, but a question can be premised on a false information to seek the truth. For example, in the statement, may information kami ng gastos ng House of Representatives or office ni Speaker sa travel is 1.8 billion. Totoo kaya ito? That's the question. Or ano ang masasabi ng Congress dito? That's the question. but it doesn't give credence to the statement. But in the example given earlier, I think what he was referring to as the question was, umuuwi pa ba ito? Nagtatanong lang. That's a style of, that may have been the question being referred to.
So do you agree that the other statement of 1.8 as stated by the Honorable Suarez was not a question?
Based on what I heard,
It is not.
it was not a question.
Thank you very much. At least we're clear that it was not a question and it was a accusation as stated by the Honorable Suarez.
Or an allegation, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Before we proceed, the chair recognizes the Honorable Busita of One Rider. Maraming